What's up, y'all? Today is my first day back on my own program, and what I realized is I need frequency in my training. So I need to squat at least twice a week, and I need to bench at least twice a week. Ideally though, I like to squat 3 times a week and bench 3 times a week, although I like variation. So I like closed grip, floor press, or speed bench, or high bar, front squats. I like to have variation in my training, and the frequency helps me nail the motor pattern. So today, I started off with some front squats, and since this is my first day back on the front squats, I don't want to go too ham. I started off with 225 beltless, and it felt okay, but then my knees felt kind of like rusty because I haven't squatted for so many reps in a while. And then my second set, I hit 225 again, and it started to feel really warm. On my third set, which is my top set, I put 275 on, slapped the belt on, and it felt really good. The 275 with the belt felt just like 225 beltless, so I was really happy with that. A lot. Next week I'm gonna progress from there, and I feel like in no time I'm gonna get my front squats back up to where it's at. My second exercise was competition bench, and I kept it at 75%, and I'm focusing on speed. So my first set was 315, and although it moved fast, my training partners were like, hey, you know, I think it's going a little bit too heavy, because I put my my bench max at 405, which is getting a little ahead of myself because I feel like I have 405 in me already. But I don't want to get ahead of myself, and by the time I do test maxes, which I do want to test, I want to be able to smoke 405. So the reason why you do have training partners is they can make better judgment calls than you, because sometimes you get emotionally involved. So I dropped it back down to 295, and I was still able to blast them, and because it felt light, I ended up pausing them for a little bit more, just to get a little bit more of that sinking into my stomach. Then I moved on to overhead press, and I feel like this is one of the exercises that has been contributing to my overall bench press strength. And this is something I really want to train and get really strong. My goal is to be able to hit 275 on the overhead press, beltless, in the near future, hopefully this year. So I did 5x5 with 185, and I haven't done that heavy of a weight in a while, so it was feeling kind of weird. But by the time it was my 4th and 5th set, it felt really good, and 185 was moving. I think I was at a RPE 8.5 and probably RPE 9. Then I moved on to pull-ups. So I think one of the biggest things that people always forget on a press day is a lot of powerlifters and even bodybuilders in general, they press so much and they have such an overdeveloped front end that their back is lacking. The only time they really work out their mid back or their upper back is when they deadlift, and that can cause a lot of shoulder problems. You'll hear a lot of powerlifters, they have shoulder problems because they have such an overdeveloped chest from benching that it pulls your shoulder forward, and then now your shoulder isn't in the right place. Your shoulder is actually the strongest when it's pinned back. So it's very important. After my pressing days, I do a shit ton of back exercise. So I start off with some pull-ups, 3 sets of 10, 12, 15, just to make sure I get the hypertrophy in, and I can feel my lats, and I can get my imaginary lat syndrome out, and it feels really good. And then after that, I did 2 sets of superset. The first one was side raises, trying to build my shoulders this cycle, and also cable rolls, once again emphasizing the back muscles. And then the second superset is the JM press, which is my favorite tricep accessory for bench, as well as spider curls, which really isolates the bicep. And I really like this. One thing I actually learned from Alberto Nunez is if you have a small muscle part, it can be because your tendon strength is really strong. And I feel like that's the case for my bicep. I don't feel like I have very big biceps, and I actually have a big gap here, which means that I probably have a long and pretty strong tendon. And so what you want to do is, instead of bouncing out of the bottom, you kind of want to have a little pause before you pull up, because if you bounce, all you're doing is using that tendon reflex to bounce the weight back up. So if you're really trying to build that muscle, you want to pause a little bit and flex and focus on flexing the bicep. And so that's what I was doing. Every time I hit biceps, because I know I got itty bitty biceps, I'm trying to fill up that space, I always make sure to pause a little bit at the bottom and contract hard. So that was my workout for today. Let me know what your workout is in the comments below. Peace.
And the biggest thing that has helped me as far as tendonitis is my accessory work. I used to focus a lot or emphasize a lot on the big movements, and I've neglected a lot of the smaller muscles, you know, just strengthening my back, my shoulders.